Awesome. So, welcome to another AMA session, community. Today we have an AMA with the Honors Unity. They've been here before, but like they say, they have another update for our community. So, we'll be happy to hear about that. And with me as well, I have Brain Twister, who's going to be as my co-host. Brain Twister, do you want to say hi to the team?
Yes, hello everyone. We're so glad to have the Owners Unity team here with us today, and we hope they can wow us with their project. Thank you for having me as well, Caleb.
Awesome. So, Paul, you may want to tell us about you. I believe there are a couple of people here who really don't know much about Honors Unity, what they have and stuff. So, you may want to tell us about you and how you get involved into the crypto space. I think we can start from there.
Yeah, sure. So, I'll make sure the volume's just right. So I got into well, I'll start with my background. Scott and I, who's the project founder. Let me make sure this audio is just right. Yeah, so Scott, who is the project founder, has known me around over 10 years, I'd say. So my background is marketing, promotions, over decades worth of social media. I started off in events. We quickly became one of the largest events in Northern Europe after a lot of quick success. And I've got several years experience in key opinion leader marketing, influencer marketing, and sort of managing global promotion and sales teams. So when Scott came up with this project, he wanted me involved. And yeah, my first crypto experience started off buying little bits of Bitcoin as the price was increasing in like 2017, and then it was basically I didn't do anything with it in terms of crypto itself until I'd say February 2021. In fact, no, that's not true. I was in on the winter of 2020 as well. So yeah, I guess that's my crypto, where my crypto journey began, and that sort of first night when you realize that the markets don't actually close, and you end up sitting until 4, 5, 6 in the morning just watching every up and down. So yeah, I think everyone's had that morning. But yeah, so that's my introduction, I guess. But as for Owners Unity, as you've already mentioned, this is not the first time we've been to the Gold Diggers communities, so thank you so much for having us back. And I suppose to give you people who aren't familiar with the project, to give you a little bit of a background, elevator pitch, if you will. I want you to picture a project that is helping families all around the world with affordable housing. But not just that, it's also a solid base for investors. So up to 7 passive revenue streams is possible for token holders. So that's the very short elevator pitch why you should be involved. You know, you can help families around the world, but you can also make a very good profit. But yeah, in more detail on Owners Unity. So what is Owners Unity and what do we aim to achieve? Every large and successful business starts with a large problem to solve. And here's Owners Unity. We aim to tackle one of the most urgent problems of them all. So no matter which country or continent you're from, there is a global housing crisis, and it's getting worse each day. Housing prices are skyrocketing, becoming unaffordable, and outpacing wage growth. Many projects talk about utility and real-world impact, but this issue actually affects us all. Obviously, I'm from the UK. A lot of team members are from locations in Australia, the USA. But in the UK alone, the Office of National Statistics revealed that as of 2021, the average house price is 65 times higher than in 1970. But the average wage is only 36 times higher. So you can see there's a massive discrepancy there. And that's where the problem is coming from. And this is what we aim to fix. So across the pond in the USA, the average house price of per square foot of real estate jumped 134% in just 5 years, while the average salary only rose 37%. So obviously, Scott, when he founded this this project, he identified that there will be need for a project to
address this imbalance. He was on the phone to me the other day with the news on in the background, and it was NBC from the States. They had a consumer finance company called Bankrate on, and they revealed that a new mortgage rate, and bear with us here with the figures, a new mortgage rate on a $400,000 home as of January 1st, 2022, was around $1,745 per month in mortgage payments. I think the call I had with Scott was around mid-June, maybe June 5th, 15th, when they increased the interest rates. That small increase actually upped someone who would have that property, increased their mortgage payments by almost $600 per month. Now, the average family, they can't just pull that money out of thin air. It's unsustainable. This onslaught will leave millions of families around the world being unable to afford their home. And this is where Owners Unity comes in. This is what gives us our real world purpose. And our core message is simple. Everyone has the right to a decent standard of living, which we aim to fix with the tokenomics. And everyone has the right to a decent standard of home, which we aim to fix with the real world business. This policy should not be controversial. People should have a nice standard of living. So what does this actually look like? What's the practicalities of it? So Owners Unity is a decentralized finance meets real estate project. And at our core, we aim to revolutionize the way the world provides affordable property. So for everyone to picture the scale of this, I want you to picture housing developments all over the world, not just London, not just the USA, but emerging markets, Africa, Asia, all over the planet, where we have people paying for property at an affordable rate, all of which profits, the profits of which help to feed into the tokenomic system in which holders and investors can benefit from. So for the actual homeowners, what does this look like? How are we changing the system? The three essential main sections we're changing. For homeowners, it means abandoning the old mortgage system in place for our Owners Unity payment program. So I'll always mention on these AMAs, the word mortgage comes from the old French term death pledge. Now, we believe a home should be about living and happy memories and life, not a death pledge. It shouldn't be so unaffordable. In the UK, they're currently talking about having what they call multi-generational mortgages, because the house prices are so absolutely through the roof at the moment that instead of going, right, this item is clearly overvalued, they're going, no, let's just tie the debt into multiple generations of family, which is just ridiculous, instead of lowering the prices. So yeah, we believe that a house is for living, a home is for living, and not a death pledge. So one of the core aspects we looked at when we look at the current system is that the super restrictive credit check system on the current mortgage system is not fit for purpose. So what we look to do is, while we do a credit check, a basic credit check, our decision is based on an affordability check. In so many cases, we have seen where someone's paying $1,000 in rent, but they get denied for a $600 a month mortgage, and it's ridiculous. So we'll abandon that. If you can prove that you've been paying X amount in rent for X amount of months, we will be able to grant you a home. Once, obviously, there's more checks. Everything gets passed to the community, so you go through an application process, but Scott will touch on that later. This is a very community-driven project. The other aspect is obviously making sure that the home payments are affordable. That's kind of the core principle of affordable housing, to make sure the payments are sensible. And the third aspect is that a lot of mortgage terms can be for 30 odd years, but not with Owners Unity payment plan. So we aim, and through the power of our tokenomics, the money that people pay us in home payments, we actually reinvest a portion of that, and we are able to trim years off their sort of standard payment term. So instead of having a mortgage for 30 years, you can have an Owners Unity payment program for 10, because the profit from the investment actually skims away at the total term. So yeah, it's essentially easier in, using more common sense approach through affordability checks, payments that are more manageable through our tokenomics, and then we use our tokenomics to also trim off time, so you're not tied in for 30 years, and we can help you be debt free even quicker. So obviously every good plan needs a good team, and we've put together a strong bench of directors and advisors with a wealth of experience from all relevant sectors, from blockchain, tokenomics, real estate, construction, and finance. We have some of them in the room. It's quite a large chat, so I'd hate to go across it all and not be able to see anything. So yeah, we've got Golden Hands, who's the COO. We have in the chat, that is, we have Scott, who is the founder. The chat's moving so quickly. I'll pass over to perhaps Golden Hands, the COO. He can introduce himself, and then we can pass it around the room to give everyone a fair introduction.
So,
yeah, hi guys. My name is Golden Hands. My real name is Roop Raj. I'm the CEO of Owners Unity Token. I've got more than a decade experience into IT. I'm actually a AWS solution architect. I'm into Amazon Cloud. And I'll be handling the operations for Owners Unity Token. Das, over to you.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
100%.
Oh, I had issues yesterday. Yeah, my name's Das, or Scott's my real name. I'm co-founder of Owners Unity. I deal with directing the path of the project at this moment in time. I speak to all of the other members of the team just to make sure we're up to speed and we're heading in the same direction. I've been involved in construction, project management, and business consultancy, for decades. And I've run a business consultancy since 2013. I first got into crypto in 2018, and I've known Paul since about 2007. I'm pretty sure it's around then, and that's me. Lawgiver.
So is anyone else we're gonna be expecting? That's that. Okay.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Hi, I'm Mr. Lawgiver. Jordan is my real name. I've been in crypto for a couple of years now. I'm an advisor, obviously, out of the US. My background is in construction, specifically energy management construction, building, with sustainability in mind. And that's kind of what I got involved with Owners Unity for, and excited about the future with them.
Back to you, Paul.
Yeah, sure. I did a little introduction at the beginning. 1 second, I'll switch audio mode so there's no extra feedback. Yeah, I did a little introduction at the beginning. But my name's Paul. Obviously, Scott's known me for quite a while now. And yeah, my background is in events, marketing, promotion, influencers, social media. Yeah, so I'm CMO, obviously. Scott, are you able to take it from here?
Yes, certainly. I think to start with, you've heard from Paul about Owners Unity and what we are and what our mission statement is. What I'll do now is pass over to Jordan. Jordan can run through the tokenomics. Then we will discuss with Rupraj about a few other details, utilities related to real estate, etc. Simon can talk about, and then I'll update you guys on where we've come from the last time we were here. So, Jordan?
Yeah, I'm here, ready to rock and roll. So for those of you who aren't familiar, this is a reflections token. So we've got an 8% buy fee and a 14% sell. On the buy, you've got a 4% BUSD back to the holders, and then 1% to liquidity, buyback and burn, marketing, and affordable housing. On the sell, it's a little bit heavier. It's a 7 BUSD back to the holders, and then 2% to liquidity, 2% to buyback and burn, 1% to marketing development, and 2% to affordable housing. And that's kind of a general reflection token setup. What makes Owners Unity awesome, in my opinion, kind of another reason I wanted to be involved, is our autonomics. We've got a secondary and tertiary reward system. Paul kind of alluded to it with our clients, our housing clients. So the secondary reward structure is based off of the payments made by our clients. And there's a breakdown in the white paper, but basically from those payments, a portion of that goes to marketing development, affordable housing, and then into our investment plan. And that's kind of the secret sauce of out, so I can't really get into that. But then those investments are used to reward holders continuously and to reward our clients with a portfolio that helps them pay down their house faster. So we have the secondary and then the tertiary reward structure that comes out of that is, again, breaks out into affordable housing, marketing, liquidity, reserve, and BUSD rewards. And that all goes back to the token holders. And then is separated out. I believe the staked holders receive kind of a higher benefit. So it's a benefit to get your Owners Unity tokens and get them staked. And the I don't know, I've lost my place.
Not a problem, buddy. With regards, I think you was just about to say that the secondary tokenomics offer not only 12.5% return for stakeholders, but we also want to make sure that everyone holds the token, doesn't miss out, because some people don't want to stake, and therefore 5% of the secondary autonomics is returned and shared between all token holders, not just stakeholders.
Yep. That's exactly what I was looking for. So all of this is outlined in the white paper. It's complicated, but they've got it broken out really well there. I think that one of the key things to really remember about this is that while we have a tokenomics for volume-based trading, a lot of this system is based on the hybrid setup of the company. So this is not volume dependent. These rewards come from helping people get into homes. Those payments are outside of volume. So that's what really, from the investor side, that's what drew me in, is being able to see that, when the market's down like it is right now and everybody is kind of holding their breath and the trading has slowed down, that doesn't slow down Owners Unity at all. It's kind of like getting the boulder going on the hill, and once it starts rolling, it just picks up speed. But it's a good way to kind of hedge your bets against a down market means less when you've got this hybrid setup with a real world revenue coming into a tokenomic system.
You want to say something, Dad?
No, I'll go after you, buddy.
Okay, because actually normally the way we do it is, I mean, I love the fact you guys are already giving out introduction about the project. I mean, it's cool, but naturally, I guess to have ask few questions about the project for myself personally, and I mean, certain question about the project. Then I think I also have some questions as well from my host, my co-host, sorry. Then maybe after on, we can get question from the comments as well. But I mean, I love the fact you guys are already going through, the introduction about the project. But I mean, if you still want to add in something, if you're fine to do that. But I do have some questions to ask as well about the project.
Yeah, no worries. Just I'll give a really brief overview of the few bits that are external to that, then that are quite important. The secondary tokenomics then break into tertiary tokenomics. So there's an additional real-world utility-driven return, which is on the white paper, which you guys should look at. And like Paul said in the beginning, it's 7 different revenue streams that are returned to the token holder. And 4 of those are external to the buy-sell volume or the market volatility. Okay, that's that part of it. With regards to since we were here last time, and this is just and then we can go to questions. Since we were here last time, we now have a gold certificate from Reflex Finance. So we've got the KYC and audit through the Reflex Gold certification. We have also taken on board a KYC product to add additional utility from the crypto side, and we're also onboarding another real world business which will add additional revenue to the real world side. So we're building out this project on both sides. With regards to when the utilities will be up and running, we believe that the rebrand and the rebrand of the KYC product will be up and running before we launch or before we list, which is the 3rd of September. And just want people to remember that we are a unique project in the senses that we are tackling a severe real world problem, and we are offering not just crypto returns, but real world returns. This is a real way of bringing both of these 2 aspects together so that we can show normal everyday people the true benefits of crypto and how it can impact them in their lives. And then that will drive adoption. And then as we drive adoption, it increases volume. And, like Jordan said, once the ball's rolling, it's going to be pretty difficult to stop.
That's great. I mean, feel free to keep on sharing every information you want to have. Then, I mean, if you have enough introduction about the project, then I can go ahead with my question. But if you still want to give us more information about it, please feel free to do that.
It's Rupraj, is there anything you would like to add?
You mean from me?
No, from Golden Hands.
Okay.
Yeah, hi. It's just that we are trying to get a lot of investors outside crypto world as well. I mean, we are looking for different countries. Like in India, we're trying for real estate investors. They don't know anything on crypto, but they like to invest in some projects. So we are trying to approach them to make sure that it is beneficial for both them and us as well. So apart from that, we are having a lot of partnerships going with different other projects. I mean, we are looking out for projects which will be beneficial for all our investors, like any kind of launchpad, any kind of DEX partnership, any kind of new KYC platform. We are coming up with a new KYC platform as well. We took over this from Stack Finance, so we are going to rebrand it and come to market. So yeah, a lot of places where we are trying to generate revenue, which is going to help all our investors.
I think the key thing just to add to that is I want you guys all to remember and just envision this. At some point, there will be a time where the rewards that you receive from the growth and expansion of the real world utilities that we're bringing on board will actually outweigh any benefits that you get from the buy sales tax and the value of the token. So not only do you have the security of protection against the market volatility, but at some point, these tokens that you hold will become more than just the sum of their parts.
That's really amazing. I saw Golden Hands trying to add something. Golden Hands?
That's what I was trying to tell as well. I mean, if you see our team as well, we have people from all over the world. So we want to have a global presence at every country and make sure that everybody is benefited from this project.
Awesome. The truth is, I love the fact that you guys, the main focus for the project is trying to get it all around the world, from each country to get participate on what you're building. But my first question to you guys is, Honor Unity, it's something that's still growing, and I believe all what you guys are planning to do right now is to get people involved on the project, and I believe you guys must have a target in regards to that. Of course, the goal is to get involved with each countries right out there. But I'd like to know, is there a particular country you guys are focusing this on right now, or you guys have a plan to just go straight in all countries?
Do you want? Yeah, okay, I'll take this one. Obviously, because we are the core team was mainly UK based, we have done our primary formulae, etc., on the UK market. But we chose that for a very good reason, and that's because the basis of a lot of legal jurisdictions and around the world are based on UK law. There are variants and variations. So we've designed a contract that can be amended to fit any specific country. And we haven't reinvented the wheel. What we're doing is utilizing current regulation anywhere globally and adapting the product for that. So if you can rent or buy in any country in the world, there's absolutely no reason why our product can't be used. We're going to do a blind application, which I didn't talk about, so it's a very good time to do it now as you've brought it up. The way that we're going to bring people on board is primarily through an affordability check, which is where we run a full credit check, but we don't use an algorithm. Like Paul said, we take the human into consideration, the people, because especially nowadays, a lot of people have adverse credit through no fault of their own, the pandemic, or silly things like parking tickets, and other things. Or if you look for a mortgage too hard to try and find the best mortgage, that can impact your credit negatively. So what we're going to do is look at people, and like Paul said, the main thing is to make sure that you have the ability to cover the costs, and that you've been, a relatively stable payer over an extended period of time. That's the primary things that we're looking at. Then once we've got all of the information, we then remove the personal details and give each application a reference number. We then put that reference numbered application through to the community, and the community will vote on a batch of applications, and they will say, yes, this person has been accepted, no, this person hasn't been accepted. The other good thing is the people that don't get accepted don't then just get rejected. They go onto a waiting list. So if you get through the affordability check and you get to go to the community, at some point you will be offered the opportunity to join the Owners Unity payment plan. So it's global, anywhere in the world we'll look at. It's up to the community. Wherever the community votes for us to take people on, we'll do it. The only difference may be the amount of time it takes for us to modify our current contract to the existing country's legislations.
I mean, that's definitely amazing. It's really amazing that the more focus it's actually global. And I also love the fact you say that you're gonna be getting community vote. I mean, wherever they want, you guys can get in touch with such countries and stuff like that. I mean, that alone is showing the fact that you guys are getting the community involved on the project. But I just want to bring a point out in regards to that. I mean, how are you guys gonna get people who are not kind of related into the crypto space involved in this? Because most of these people, even the homeless people, most of them don't really know much about the crypto space. So what are your plans to get the people who are not kind of educated about the crypto into what you guys are building?
Yeah, that's a good question, and you won't be surprised to hear that we have thought that one through as well. The property business will be a straightforward property business. It will not be related to crypto with regards to how it presents itself. Because like you said, the average person doesn't care about a 500% APY. He doesn't care about drawing down a loan against his Bitcoin or his Cardano. What your average person cares about is, can I pay my bills? Can I feed my kids? Can I get to work? All of the normal things that people truly worry about. And crypto is not high on the list of 99% of the global population, I would say. So what we do, and this is how we want to grow and bring a better adoption of cryptocurrency, is through education. And the best way to educate people is to show them how something benefits them in real time. So if you look on our white paper and you see the way that we're structured and set up, what we do is we bring people in. They use fiat, okay? So they're not introduced to crypto. It's fiat, just like I said, a traditional way of moving forward. But then what we do is we put the portfolio against the property. So when it goes through the secondary and tertiary autonomics, the additional return on autonomics is then put in the portfolio, which reduces the amount owed against the property. So what we then do is we have that portfolio built in crypto and or traditional stocks. If you look on our white paper, we have a choice for people to decide how they want their portfolio to be built. Then people who are usually throwing their money away, so it's dead money, are suddenly seeing a return on money that they thought was dead. And not only that, it's reducing the amount of money that they owe against owning a property. So they're getting a property for a lot cheaper. So crypto is helping them in a personal way, because by reducing that amount of money, it's also giving them the opportunity to do other things. And that's how you bring people on board and you educate them about crypto and the benefits of crypto to your average everyday person. And when you do that, so say it takes someone, this is an example, it's not specifically a guarantee, but let's say someone starts with us and owns a property within 15 years as opposed to 30 years, okay? Then let's say 5 years into being in the payment plan, they had an accident and they were off work for a year. Owners Unity allows the client to use the portfolio to cover them whilst they're injured. So they're not under threat of eviction. They don't have to worry and scramble about to try and have to find money. So not only does the client have the benefit of having a property and owning a property in less time, they have the additional security of knowing that if anything untoward happens to them, they have an extra level of protection. And then when they take ownership of the property, they've got the portfolio tied to the property. So that property will always provide them with an additional passive revenue stream, which yet again will give them more money to do other things. So those three key areas impact people in their most direct needs. And that's how we hope to educate people that crypto is more than just what they hear on Bloomberg and other financial areas and the horror stories, that it is something that if used correctly can benefit everyone. And that's what we plan to do.
100% agree with you on the fact you mentioned education. I don't think there's anyone that's beyond the fact of learning. I mean, sometimes it might take a couple of people a while, or it might take them a couple of months to get involved or get every concept involved in the cryptocurrency. But as long as you keep on educating these people, right, they have 100% chance of getting to know, what the cryptocurrency is all about and how the UTC is going to affect them as well, how it's going to help them as well. But still, based on the discussion in regards to the, people who don't know much about the crypto, I still want to touch, there was something I saw in your white paper. You say that the multi-layer reward system for holders and stakers. I mean, these people who are going to be receiving this reward are going to be the holders and those who stake. But I just want to get something straight. How is it going to benefit those, who are not involved as well in crypto? Because you did mention that what you guys are building is not just all about the crypto space itself. It's also going to benefit those who, are not involved in crypto space and stuff like that. So I just want to know how this reward is going to benefit them as well.
Yeah, not a problem. So I'll split it down just so we can clarify the difference between the two benefits. For people that are involved in crypto, they receive up to 7 passive benefits, 7 passive rewards. So that's that done. Okay, people that know about crypto, they can do that. So the people that aren't involved in crypto, okay, they're not buying the token, they're moving into the properties. So if they're moving into the properties, they are receiving. We don't do loans, by the way. So we're not a loan company. We're not a mortgage company. We need to clarify that straight off. So we don't touch on any of those aspects. If a property, just to keep it simple, if a property costs $100,000, then the client pays $100,000 plus legal fees. There's no interest because it's not a loan or a mortgage. So it's a flat rate. So that's one way that they benefit straight off. Secondly, once they're in situ and they utilise the system as we've explained, we will also gently introduce that if they hold the token, that they will receive additional benefits, which will then also bring down the amount of time it takes for them to own the home. So people outside of crypto aren't going to get involved in crypto unless their mates tell them it's a good idea. Okay, with what we're doing is we are showing people how it benefits them in a real world situation, a real world utility. And if someone that would normally have a 30-year mortgage can own a property in even 2/3 of the time, say you only knock 5 years off, so it's only taken them 25 years. That's still 5 years lower, and the reason why it's a lot shorter than that is because there's no interest to pay. So they're not paying any interest, and as I'm sure you're aware, especially in current times, the interest is what covers quite a substantial part of the mortgage, and is what makes mortgages so long. So the benefit for people who aren't involved in crypto is they're not paying interest on the property, so they get the property in less time, which shows them a benefit of crypto. The secondary and tertiary autonomics help them reduce the amount of time it takes to clear the balance, because we are making the money that they have paid work for them, even though it's not an investment. That's dead money because it's been sent to a different company. So when you pay rent, for instance, when you pay rent, that money's gone, it's dead. When you pay a mortgage, that money's gone, it's dead. Yes, you get your home eventually, but what we're doing is tweaking it a bit. So we are going to generate revenue and profits as a company, not just through the secondary and tertiary autonomics, but also through the adoption of additional real world businesses and growing the ecosystem. And then the additional revenue streams, everything goes through the autonomics. And then the easiest way to put it is, we aren't going to reward anyone in the company with fat bonuses, with dividends. Additional funds that are raised are being returned to the token holders and returned to the clients in situ to help reduce the amount of time. We're a business, we intend to make profit, but we don't plan to be greedy. And by not being greedy and redistributing the money, using the system against itself, we hope that we can educate people to understand and accept that the current way things are done is no longer acceptable, and we return some semblance of power to you guys, the clients, the people that are working hard, and actually to have a property that is then their castle, a property that they have invested so much of their sweat and their money into, that it then takes care of them moving forward. That's how we plan to get people who aren't involved in crypto into crypto, and how this project benefits them outside of being involved directly in the token.
Awesome. I mean, it's a good thing you guys not just putting this project just on the digital site, but also in a real world value. Because to be honest with you, I mean, the world today, we can see a lot of homeless people, right? You know, some of them can even claim their own ownership for some reason. Some of them don't have the right, you know. And most of them is because we all know, because could be maybe financial state they might be in and stuff like that. So I would just like to know how you guys tend to help these people. You know, we all aware of that most people, the reason why they could be homeless is because some can maybe take care of their home because of some financial issues and stuff like that. I mean, how those kind of people, how do they fit into the owners or the UTC plan? Because the truth is, you did mention that you guys are not loaning. I mean, I love the fact we're able to clarify that. So, I mean, how are these people going to benefit? How are they going to get revenue from what you're building? Because that's one of the basic reasons why, the UTC is here, right? So how do these people, how are they going to get involved with what you guys are building here?
That, again, is another great question. And again, you won't be surprised that we have thought that one through. If you look at our tokenomics, part of what the revenue goes towards is covered as affordable housing. And as Paul said at the very beginning, we have two very basic mission statements and the ethos that drives us, which is everyone has the right to a decent standard of living, and everyone has the right to a decent standard of home. So it's not just about putting people in homes, it's about putting people in homes that have hot and cold running water, inside toilets, water in the first place, you know, that they have all of these things. Also, with regards to the standard of homes, we would like to get to the stage eventually, and this is the end goal of our road plan, is to build our own properties that are completely built and based on renewable energies, and they are eco-friendly, and they have an internal smart system that controls all of the different aspects of the property, so that everyone has the right to, like I said, a decent quality of home. We're not going to be there to start with, but we will get there eventually. Homelessness can be impacted, but it can't be cured, because there are many reasons to be homeless. There are people out there that don't want to live in society, and they choose, I'm not saying everyone, but some people, and if you've spent any time with anyone that's homeless or with a group of homeless people, there are multiple different subsets in there. You know, you get the vets, which is a sad thing. You know, the vets that just haven't been taken care of. You get the people that have had issues from childhood. You know, and you get the people that just don't want to be tied down by any conventional standard of living. And there's multiple other subsets, but I was just trying to point out that it's not such a straightforward thing as saying, I'm going to cure homelessness. We're not going to do that. But for instance, with regards to what we plan to build, we plan to build different types of sheltered accommodation. Those sheltered accommodations will be HMOs, so houses of multiple occupancy, for instance. Now, if you look at our white paper and you look at our plan, you'll see that that plan can be adapted. So if we build a HMO, okay, and it's for, just keep it simple, say it's for 10 homeless people, okay, so they all share this house, but each one of them has the ability to access the portfolio that's tied to that property, because the property also falls under the secondary and tertiary autonomics. Then, if you look at the way that it's funded, you can then also put the correct counsellors in there, therapists in there, so you can actually correct the issues they have and help some of them to go back to leading what society would consider productive lives. You can't help everyone, but rather than putting the burden on the taxpayer all the time, which is why things fail, because we don't have all the money, do we? You know, we know where most of the money is. You use the existing system that's in place to draw some of that money back and then redistribute it where it's needed. It's not a cure for everything, but it will help a lot of things. With regards to people that, you know, suffer evictions, that's not going to be a bar to them getting into our properties, because like I said, we look at the human. There's multiple reasons. A lot of people in America get evicted because they have an accident and then they've got a choice, medical bills or, you know, mortgage, and they have to pay the medical bills or they'll be dead. So then that defaults them and they end up homeless. We take stuff like that into consideration. And with our system, a portfolio, and I must be clear about this, a portfolio is tied to the property. So as they stay in situ and continue to pay into the plan, that portfolio grows, because the funds created by the secondary and tertiary tokenomics return some of the return of autonomics into that portfolio, which can then be used, like I said, in emergency situations. So they won't have the concerns that your traditional mortgage holder would when it comes to, you know, things beyond their control. I would also like to clarify, though, we are a business and we try to help as many people as possible. But if people try to game the system, you know, we will evict people. We're a business still. We're trying to help people, but we have to protect all of our clients and all of you guys that invest in us. So whilst we've put systems in places and fail safes to protect as many people as possible, you know, some people will try and game the system, and those people will be removed from the properties. But hopefully that's explained how we intend to help as many people in society as possible. And it's not just the homeless. Like I said, that's the sheltered housing side of it. The affordable housing is building decent standard of homes that people can afford, not sticking such a massive markup on them, building the relationships that we're working on at the moment so that we have partnerships so that we can get the best prices for product. We can put the properties together and we can sell them at a price that is, everything costs money, but you don't then have to put a 15-20% markup on top for profit if you're utilising our kind of system. So even our new builds will be cheaper than your traditional new build. We're just trying to educate people, like I said, a different way that things can work, and that's what we're trying to do.
That's really, really amazing. I also love the fact you mentioned partnerships, because getting these people involved in supporting the project alone can go a long way. It's not just like someone who just wake up on the day and, hey, I want to help homeless people without, plans and people trying to support them on the project, But I do have a few more questions to ask. But before I'm going to proceed with that, my co-host here do have some couple of questions to ask. So going to start, you want to go ahead?
Yes, thank you very much, Caleb. Well done so far, Honors Unity team. I've been loving your explanation in your presentation. So I just have a couple of questions about your tokenomics in general. The first question was the 5% seed sale and the 12.5% privates. That's a total of 17.5%. The funds generated from those sales, have they been put in entirety towards marketing, or what's the breakdown of that?
Well, we've only done seed so far. We're on Reflex Finance for the rest of pre-sale and Apollo for the rest of pre-sale, but we are using the funds for marketing. Yes. Well, but we've got a really good CMO, and what he's trying to do as well, and what he has managed to do, is utilise partnerships where you want people to join, and we offer each other things to make sure that the product is stronger. Also, we have signed up to make sure that you guys are secure. So we're locking our smart contract and our liquidity pool in with Everrise Everone. And obviously we've had to pay for that, and we've paid for that already out of the seed. So it's not just marketing, it's also the security. We're currently upgrading the website. So it's all things around, making the project as secure as possible and as ready to go. And we also took on a KYC system, AVS from Stacked. So we're also using some of the funds to, do the modifications that we want to do, and obviously change the front end UI rebrand, turn it into the product that we're comfortable with, and utilize that as well. So that's what the money's going on.
Okay, I love that answer. Sounds like you've put a lot of thought into it. So since you said only the seed round has been completed, I'm curious as to ask why you put 12.5% as the private sale rounds, because usually the way it works is the seed round, the private sale, they always have an advantage over before the launch price, maybe 50% up, or however the case may be. Now, aren't you worried the 12.5% is going to be a little too much, considering the fact that you only have 22.5% for the public round?
Yeah, not particularly, and I'll explain why. We've looked to try and do things differently from the start. For instance, the seed round, we opened up to people that joined our project early as well, because a lot of people that get your project in the very early stages don't receive any benefits. So we've even opened the seed up to them, and we've put APY on our vesting schedule to reward people as well. We went through the figures and worked out the numbers, and we are comfortable with the numbers because, and this is the other thing to consider, sometimes you've got to take a step back and look outside of it from the traditional view that you're looking at. We have utility that will be ready to go from the start, but we also have real world utility and additional revenue streams external to crypto. So we get a lot of questions and a lot of people, and it's totally understandable. You're looking at it from sort of like a 2.5D perspective, and we're looking at it from a slightly broader perspective. So we've looked at the figures. The soft cap, like for instance, the soft cap that you have to utilise to get on a lot of launch pads, and it's not a bad thing, but it's 50% of the hard cap. But the way that we're structured, we don't actually need that much of a soft cap, but we've had to put figures forward to adhere to the current industry standards, but we're not a current industry standard project. So, you know, we're trying to show people the way forward, but we've also got to work within the constraints of how the whole ecosystem currently works.
Okay, all right, that's wonderful. So, does that mean that the seed round and private round, their advantage over the public sale buyers are not going to be much? Are there any figures behind those particular sales? I mean,
yeah, of course. No, there's not going to be much difference. You know, we've tried to keep it as tight as possible. So seed was 1.2 million for B&B. Private is going to be 1 million. Public 800,000, and then listing 600,000. So we've kept the numbers really tight together if you consider what some other projects do.
okay, that sounds wonderful. And the public sale, you're planning a fair launch, or you don't have an idea about that yet?
What's that? Sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Yeah, I was asking the public sale. Is it gonna be pre-sale or fair launch?
Pre-sale.
All right, wonderful. And then the private sale, is there gonna be any vetting necessary before you can get in, or it's free for all?
We're looking at whitelisting. So it's definitely whitelisted, but we're just deciding on whether we have tier 1 and tier 2 or just a standard one. At the moment, you apply for the whitelist, and then when we make the decision, which will be Friday probably, because we're getting close to the deadline the week after, that's when we'll clarify whether we're going to have tier 1 and tier 2. We might throw that open to the community to decide on, because we're very community orientated. But there's definitely going to be whitelisting involved.
All right, that sounds beautiful. I think that clears most of the tokenomics issues, although I would maybe like, when I get into your project's group, to ask about your vesting and the 5% for investment, but that would be another time. I don't want to take up too much. Another important point I wanted you to clarify on is the fact that you're trying to create a very unique project. Now, housing, as I'm sure I don't need to tell you, you know this, is very money intensive. It's capital intensive. So the funds required to get these houses and all, how do you plan to go about that? Or would that be raised from some means that's not known to the public eye?
Yeah, like Golden Hands said, we're looking at external investors, but that's another common misconception that we come across a lot, and we need to clarify this. As another CEO who's helped us since day one has always said, when you purchase a farm, it's very rare that you purchase a farm with the crop already ready to harvest. So we're not going to be buying 10, 15 properties from day one. We will look to pilot. We would like to have one on each continent, that would be lovely. But we're also not looking at people that want to spend $500,000 to start with. You know, in the northeast of England, this is the best example I can give you. In the northeast of England, you can get a 2 or 3 bedroom property that your average middle class family would look to move into for between £80,000 and £120,000. So, you know, between $100,000 and $150,000 would be the price of a single property in the northeast. The type of people that are going to move into that property would be the type of people that have 2 incomes. You know, a couple of kids possibly, or they might be, you know, new, first-time homeowners with no kids, but they have the disposable income. Loads of millennials out there are looking to do it. So if the global housing market is massive and there's such a range that you can look to enter, we know the type of people we're trying to help. We want to help everyone eventually. But to start with, we need to make sure that the project is secure, make sure it has the best chance to hit its targets so that it can gain proof of concept, and with proof of concept, grow, bring more people on board, help more people. You can have the best idea in the world, but if you don't start it properly, then it dies and nobody receives the benefits. So it's not as cash intensive as a lot of people have in their heads to actually do it once you know and you specifically have done the work to target specific areas. You've got your target locations, you've got your target market, and it all drills down to those figures. So it really doesn't cost that much. And I've seen meme coins and shit coins, excuse the language, on these sites pull in a lot more money than we would ever need to generate revenue. Secondly, we've got real world and crypto utilities that will be driving additional revenue. So it's also just a matter of time. You know, once we are generating revenue and it goes through the secondary tokenomics, then we're going to generate more revenue anyway. So at some point we will be able to purchase property independent of any external income. But we are looking at every avenue and every revenue. And I'll just quickly touch on the 5% investment. If you look at the structure for the team, it's only 6% for the team. As we've grown, the investment, so the 5% would be to take on additional staff when we grow. And prior to us launching and becoming a major business. So, for instance, we've taken on Rupraj as COO. It's not fair for him not to receive a portion of tokens in accordance with the team. And that's part of what the investment percentage is. The percentage for the investment is low. And obviously, once we launch, we will look at additional ways we can restructure that. Because once we've launched, we will have knowledge of the team that we have to move forward with, and then we can work around different areas and aspects of how that will work. But we're working on the whitelist. We're working on the white paper and the tokenomics as we speak.
All right, that sounds wonderful. Yeah, pretty well explained. Then the last thing I wanted to ask more of, I don't know what's going through you guys' mind, but is there any possibility of maybe also including a short-term renting like a B&B or something into the whole package? Because it says you're looking to get homeowners into homes and stuff, but the short-term rent market is really a very big aspect. So any plans of getting into that as well?
I think the best way to answer that would be to say I cannot confirm or deny the veracity of your statement, and hopefully you can make from that what you will.
Come on, not even for the Gold Diggers channel, a little sneak peek or even a hint?
All I will say is our product is applicable to multiple different formats and we have had conversations and have a roadmap to enter every market and every format that our product will fit into. That's as much as I can say for now.
Okay, I guess we'll have to take that as the answer. So yeah, that clarifies most of the questions I have about tokenomics. Yeah. So over to you, Caleb. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thanks for that point twister. And sorry, I know that wasn't gonna tell you. There are some things that have to be confidential and stuff like that. But I mean, it's a great stuff. But anyways, there's you didn't mention about partnerships earlier. So I mean, who are these people? Who are your partners? I mean, that's one of the things I believe everyone here is willing to know, and they want to know the kind of people you guys are partnering with, and how are they gonna help the UTC grow. I mean, in the future and stuff like that. So, who are your partners, and how are they gonna help the UTC grow in a long period of time?
I think that's one for you, Golden Hands, if you're still about.
Yeah, so we are trying for a lot of partnerships. One is into NFT gaming project. They are Revival of Avalanche, so they will be our NFT partners. Then we have Vault Finance. They are launching, I think after 2 days. They are into a launchpad and DEX. We have similarly RMC, Rewards Miner Coin. We have partnered with them as well. And apart from that, I think that's Everrise also, right? Reflex Finance, they already have a Reflex Legion launchpad. We are already launching in their launchpad. Apart from that, we are trying for even more kind of partnerships into payment gateway and a lot more, which is in talk right now. But yeah, a lot is in pipeline.
Yeah, and just to add to that, whilst we're talking to a lot of people, and obviously we can't announce who they are until it's signed on the dotted line, but we're also in talks with real world businesses to build out that side as well. So there are partnerships that are coming, not just on the crypto side, but also on the real world side. And the key thing is it's how you look at it. Like I said, this is a hybrid project, so you have to look at it from a slightly different angle. Our main drive and our main focus is to generate revenue that rewards you guys and also helps people that are in the properties to get those properties quicker, so we can generate more volume, more people in houses, more people being helped. So if a project or a business can assist us in generating either additional revenue or an additional revenue stream, we will take them on board. So even if you had 2 NFT marketplaces, if we came up with some kind of agreement with both that generated additional revenue, that helps you guys, it helps the clients in situ, and we will take them all on board.
I mean, that's really amazing. Because I mean that's one of the things I believe can help a project, especially if you here for a long period of time, and I believe the investors here want to put in their funds on where they believe the project is gonna be sustainable in a long period of time. We are all here for a long term goal. So I mean, if you guys are putting up these partners involved on the project, right? I believe it's gonna help you guys go very well in the future. I mean, if the partners themselves are willing to help out and do everything they can to assist you guys, I mean, that alone is gonna grow up the UTC project. I think that's all I have to say about the partnerships. Then I think we're gonna move straight down to the contract. Is the contract audited? Because the past couple of days I've been seeing lots of projects having contract issue, and that alone is not just gonna affect the investors' funds or investors themselves. It's gonna affect the project in a long run. Right. So I'd just like to know, I mean, if you guys would like to break that down as well. Is the contract audited?
We have gold certification from Reflex Finance, so KYC contract audit. Not just the contract is audited, the staking contract is audited, and the pre-sale vesting contract is audited. So, like I said, we've done what we can do, as much as we can do, to secure you guys moving forward.
That's really, really amazing. I mean, feel free to add up anything you may want to say about the UCC project. If there's anything you haven't touched on, please feel free to do that to the investors here. I mean, I think if you do not have, if you feel like we've touched on everything, we can have the opportunity to give them an open mouth to the community.
Yeah, I just want to something that because it's a simple idea. The concept's really simple, and then it's just layered on top of that. So I want everyone to keep not so much an open mind, but a simple mind. Just look at the basics. The basic is someone moves into a property, and then they stay in that property, and then after a certain amount of time, when an agreed figure has been reached, they are offered to take ownership of that property or to remain as a renter. That's due to legal reasons, but it really is as simple as that. Everything else on top of that is just trying to adhere to the regulations, which any other business in the world has to adhere to. So, try and remember that and focus on the key principles behind how the business operates. With regards to the contract, we always use the contract that will be legal in any country. In England, we're part of the NRLA, which is the National Rental Landlords Association, and the primary contract we use is a contract that is drawn up by their lawyers. So it's 100% within the jurisdiction of the UK. We've spoke to the FCA, who have said that we're compliant. So there's no aspect there. Remember, and this is key, we're not loaning money. We're not lending money. There is no kind of agreement in place where we are offering people monies and they have to pay us those monies back and additional monies on top. There's nothing like that happening, okay? Because a lot of people will get trapped. And some of the wording, for instance, can make it seem like that because you have to fit within the current regulations. But if you look at our white paper and you've got questions, then please ask us. But to go through everything, we had a 2.5 hour AMA on Monday and we still barely scratched the surface because of the multiple layers on top of the basic premise. But if you look at the basic premise, it really is quite a simple one, and the simple ones are always the best.
That's really, really amazing. And it's really nice that you guys are getting involved, having AMAs, in your community. But there's a question that just came straight into my mind before we move straight down to the community. You didn't mention about community engagement, right? So I'd just like to know real quick, how do you guys plan to get the community involved on a project? Because when the community is involved in a project, it's helped the project as well. Imagine 10, 15 people talking about the users of project and how it's going to help, the real world issues, right? Then a friend or a relative do hear about them speaking about it, that alone can get their interest on the project. That alone can get a lot of referrals, a lot of interest, people who can get involved in the Honors Unity project. So, how do you guys plan to get the community engagement or involvement on the project?
I think that one's yours, Paul.
Sorry, mate, my audio is really struggling. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, I was asking how you guys plan to get the community involved on your project, because you guys did mention something like that, and I think that should be one of the key aspects to the project community, because they are the ones that are going to participate and get involved on the project. They are the ones that you want to help, and trust me, a lot of these people in here, they have friends, they have relatives, you know, that they can talk to about the project. So how do you plan to get the community involvement on the project?
Well, luckily, because Scott has sort of designed a project that from top to bottom is all about community participation. So whether it's making decisions on the direction of the company, making decisions on people who are chosen to be housed, homed, or whatever the correct word is, um, from the top to bottom, it is all about community involvement and community participation. So I think Scott might have mentioned that we're going to have a voting system for several different aspects of it. So in terms of actual engagement of the company, once this company's live, I don't have to sort of point out that a business that's able to offer housing and obviously we avoid the word mortgage, but a mortgage substitute, if you will, like meat-free, mortgage-free process where people are going to be judged on the actual affordability rather than a stringent credit check that's going to bring up medical records and parking tickets. That alone will bring in the audience once we're live. The earned media from that across, tabloids, broadsheets, all across the world, while we are about to dive into a huge recession-driven housing crisis, being able to offer affordable housing when some countries are offering multi-generational debt plans because housing properties are so large, being able to offer that will capture the entire market, and there'll almost be very little marketing required. Similar for Amazon and Facebook. It's the beast will feed itself in a way, and then obviously we channel all of that community participation in the voting system and sort of that very I don't want to use the word socialist, but very community and unionized way of operating the company. But yeah, and in the short term, building up to it, obviously we're doing competitions within the community. We actually, good time to drop it. It's a nice seamless bridge. We've actually got a sweep widget competition going on at the moment where you can also win whitelists and NFTs. If you head to our Twitter, you should be able to find the tweet, which is pinned to the top of the page. You can win, there's 10 NFTs up for grabs, as well as whitelist. And you have to join our Telegram, follow our Twitter, and just basically follow the competition guidelines. So yeah, there's a little dose of community engagement for you.
Yeah, if I can just add to that. Just to be clear, we are steering the ship, so we're not going to ask for permission to make the day-to-day decisions. But when it comes to decisions that impact you guys, our community fiscally, then we will come to you guys and we will present you with the options. So, for instance, if we, just to keep it simple, if we're going to expand, say, build an NFT marketplace, or we're going to onboard a percentage of profit from a real world business, we'll give you both of those options, and then you can choose which one as a community. Both of them will generate additional revenue streams, but you guys get to choose which one we do first, and then the next one we will do at a different time. All of our votes are straight up and down votes. No no 3 or 4 questions to dilute it. It'll be a straight up and down, majority vote wins. You'll win sometimes, you'll lose other times, but that's how it should be. You don't get your way 100% of the time. We also do polls, like for instance, when we took over AVS, we've had 3 AMAs about how to integrate AVS the AVS community and token holders into our community, and we're giving them the option on how we do it because it impacts them. So that's how we drive community. Everything we do is focused on growing and engaging the community, because without your community, you are nothing. Obviously, you still need to retain some level of control, but there's nothing wrong with going to the community and giving them options when it impacts them fiscally.
And even to add, we try to get all the latest real estate related information and law changes in our group. So whoever finds any kind of change, we try to bring into our community.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the information. So, Paul, Golden Hands, and Daz, are you guys ready to get questions from the community?
Sure.
Awesome.
Sure.
So everyone, you may want to raise your hand now. You're gonna be asking some questions about the project. Please, you want to also be brief with your questions so we can get enough questions from the community. So, first of all, we have the Kryptonian. The Kryptonian, you're muted.
Hey, Caleb. Hey, everyone. Good evening.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, I've been.
Hey, we lost you, the Kryptonian.
Oh, sorry. My Telegram unmuted me. Yeah. So let me get straight to my question. The way housing is nowadays, it's different in so many places around the world. For example, in the US, you can buy a house of $150,000, and how much are someone getting in a month? So crazy. But I just want to know, why didn't you focus more on countries that have lower housing expenses? Like, for example, if you come to some African countries, the amount at which you spend for housing, it's so little compared to how much you would take to build a house in the United States or maybe Canada. So why didn't you focus more on countries that have less amount for building, so that one, it's also boosts the project and it also saves you money?
Yeah, that's a great question, Bud. I think I kind of touched on that earlier. There's two aspects to this question. Primarily, we need to make sure that we get off the ground and that we establish a solid footing and foundation so that we can grow our business. We have a better understanding of the laws and legislations in certain countries. That's why we're looking globally. But if you heard the answer that I gave earlier as well, I said we're open to anyone. Anyone will be able to make an application. It will just take longer in some countries that we are not au fait with all of the laws and legislation. So, for instance, as you know, if you were starting a business and you wanted to help as many people as possible, would you do that in a way that gave you the best chance to grow and actually help people, or try and help those who are most needy first, possibly increasing your chances of failure and then not getting to help as many people as you want? Because we understand America, we understand the UK, Golden Hands understands India, for instance. These are all areas that we know what we're doing 100%. When we go to other countries, and it will be open to everyone, it might extend the amount of time before we can put anyone in a property for 6 to 12 months. So from launch, it could then be, 18 months before we put anyone in a property. And in that period of time, you'll have all of the possible adverse things that happen to a new project that could then send us under. And then we help no one. Then we don't get to any African countries. My dad's Nigerian, so, we don't get anywhere. We don't help anyone by doing that. We have a roadmap and a formula in place that we believe will work, and we believe it's better to eventually get round to helping more people once you're established than trying to overextend yourself at the start and fold and not actually help anyone.
Yeah, I kind of get the gist of all what you're saying. You clearly explained it well. Thank you, Caleb, for the opportunity, and thank you, Des. I'll check more on your Telegram channel.
You're welcome, buddy. Yeah, thanks for that, Dr. Kutina. Up next, we have H2O. H2O, you're muted.
All right. Hello, everyone.
Hey, mate. Ask a question. I'm sorry, you may want to come closer to the mic, H2O, so we can hear you.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much. And I just quickly want to respond to the manner with which the project was presented. I think I love the concept you are trying to communicate using the blockchain technology. You are trying to solve the housing issue. So my question is, does this project come with packages like facility management alongside of the building?
Oh, yeah, thanks very much for the question, H2O. Due to the... Oh, go on, Lawgiver, I'll let you do that.
Well, I was just I was going to ask if that was the end of the question. I think there's a lot that we have going on. But your question was: is there facility management involved in the product that we're selling to our clients?
Are you there?
Yes. Yeah. I wanted to clarify before I started answering something that you didn't ask, brother.
What I mean is that, you build, you transfer to the owner, and probably run a kind of maintenance for the whole building for a period of year. Or how do you see that?
All right. So if I understand, yeah, there are parts of it that aren't fleshed out completely. One of the products that Scott and the team have already got up and running is it has a real world application as a facility management and owner management tool. There are opportunities to bring in a maintenance plan to the portfolio, to the project, or to the product that the client is receiving. And so Scott had talked about integrating into the blockchain. That it involves also integrating the possible opportunity for someone who has our product to say, oh, I've got a broken refrigerator, broken window, and be able to click a button and work through our payment system to find someone that's capable to fix that, have them deliver that service out there. There's also a portion of it that I know Scott is working on that involves bundling a lot of different features together, so that when you buy our product, you're not just getting a home, you're also, could possibly be paying for your energy, for your gas or your electric, for your cable. There's a lot of different options out there, and there's a lot of partnerships that are in the works that I know can't be commented on completely, but that is something that is being looked at to provide, kind of a holistic solution to your home, and not just, you got a roof over your head, now figure the rest out. This is the idea is that you have a home, it's your castle, and it helps take care of you, and it's not the hard part of your day.
And just to add to that quickly.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Go ahead. I was just going to add to that really quickly. We follow the laws, legislation, rules and regulations of the countries that we're in. Due to the way our system works, for instance, in the UK, we do provide maintenance, and we also cover one of the 2 insurances that are required in the UK. But country to country, there are different laws and legislations, and we will abide by the laws and legislations of each individual country.
All right, thank you very much. My next question will be, I know you are trying to bring the real world business on the blockchain. So in the real world, there are these agents, estate agents, where you bring clients and you have some percentage of commission, a form of a kind of a referral on each agent, on each client you bring into the business, as it were. Do you have some sort of packages like that where you give referral bonuses to people?
We have looked at those kind of things, and it has to be something that works for the client, for us, and for our potential partner. We are looking at literally everything we can possibly do to make this client-based and as easy as possible for people. So we're keeping it as simple as possible, and the best way to keep it simple is to make sure that you provide your potential clients with everything in-house.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. My last question is, I hope I'm not asking too much.
Go ahead, H2O.
All right, thank you, Caleb. So my last question is, in a situation where I'm not done paying for a particular building or house, and I'm no longer interested again, is there a possibility for a transfer to a third party?
Can you just repeat that, please?
All right, in a situation where I'm about buying a house, I'm about owning a house, but I'm not done with the payment plan, and I'm no longer interested in it again. Are there packages like transfer to a third party, backdoor by a legal agreement?
Yeah, thanks for that question. I think, again, it's about looking at the system. And whilst we try to help as many people as possible, doing things like that opens up for a gaming of the system for people to try and take advantage of it, which disadvantages other people involved in the project. So this is the basics of what we do, just to be clear for people. Whilst you're in the project, you can move to a different property within the project. You can take any additional equity. So say when you moved in, the property was 100,000, because I like to keep the figures simple. And then you've decided that you need a bigger house and the value of the property is then 150,000. You can take that additional equity against a larger property. What you can also do is take the funds in your portfolio and utilize them against the cost of the larger property. If you decide to leave the owner's Unity payment plan or ecosystem, then you take nothing with you, because when you move in, we're not loaning you money. We are not lending anything. There is no mortgage, there is no loan or anything like that, okay? So when you're paying your money, it's the same as paying to live in a property. The only difference is we have chosen to find a different way to recycle that money to make it work for everyone, instead of it being traditionally just used to benefit the people who own the premises. So that's what we're doing. So as long as you're in our system, once you get to home ownership, you get the property, you can do exactly what you want, you get to the portfolios tied to the property, etc. But whilst you're going through the process, if you change your mind, which would be stunning in my opinion, because I don't see what alternative there would be. If you decided you didn't want to own the property anymore, you would then have to move somewhere else and still pay rent, and therefore you'd be moving to pay rent somewhere that didn't offer you any returns for living in that property. But if you want to do that, of course you're welcome to do that. But we're not going to allow people to think, right, I can stay here for 5 years, I can rack up a nice bit of money that I wouldn't get anywhere else, and then I'm going to take it and utilise it elsewhere. So we're trying to find that balance between helping as many people as possible, but making sure that our system is robust and it doesn't get gamed by people.
All right, thank you very much for such an amazing answer from you. Thank you very much, Caleb.
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for that, H2O. I think up next we have Zainab. Zainab, you're muted. Zainab, you're muted. You want to mute your mic and speak. Zainab? Okay, I guess we'll have to move on.
About somewhere, because she DM'd me, she pinged me, so she must be engaged. Any chance of coming back to her when she's about, that would be appreciated.
Yeah, no worries. Let's get a question for, maybe we can get back to her later on. Let's see, Christilla, you're muted.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my network issue. Thank you.
No worries. Yeah, you can ask your question, Zainab.
Yeah, thank you so much. So my question is, for most people, the main focus of any crypto community is on the price of tokens. When prices go up, people are happy. When they go down, people start to leave. What is the team plan to grow a strengthened and a loyal community?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think, again, with regards to our project, because it is a unique hybrid project, we have to look at it slightly differently. Communities will always be interested in what's in it for them. That's the whole idea. You've got your your day traders, people that are looking to turn a quick profit, and you've also got your people that hold. We are trying to find the balance between the two, so we've got opportunities for both. We can't dictate or control the market, but what we can do is look to change the way that projects work within the market, and to do that we have the real world utility. So like I said before, to start with, like any small boat thrown out onto the ocean, you get buffeted by the waves. There's nothing anyone can do about that, and anyone trying to tell you they found some miracle cure to protect them is lying. Okay, there's always a risk. All you can try to do is minimize that as much as possible, which is why we've put all of the security functions in, why we have anti-whale measures, anti-dumping measures, third-party locking of the smart contract and the liquidity. We have a reserve built into the real world company, which is 50-50 split between Bitcoin and gold to offer additional security. At some point, the rewards you receive from the real world ecosystem, from the autonomics, will outweigh any market conditions. That's the goal. Once we get there, then the previous worries and concerns that a lot of people have around their tokens will evaporate, because even if there's a 95% drop in the value of the token, the volume of rewards coming in from the real world ecosystem will remain constant. The demand is greater than supply in the housing sector, and it will be like that for a long time. The second company that we're looking to onboard is an energy brokerage. Everyone needs to use energy. So we've looked at what we feel are two of the most robust sectors to bring in additional revenue to our product. As we grow and we get more people on board and there's more adoption, like I said, the token value becomes secondary, and Lawgiver is in charge of a secondary plan that he came up with himself with regards to how we then manage that part of the market moving forward. So to start with, we'll do everything we can to mitigate the ups and downs of the market, but everyone's liable to it. And then eventually, due to the uniqueness of our project, those won't be an issue.
Yeah, thank you so much, and best of luck for your project. Don't have a good day. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks for that, Zainab. I think I unmuted. Let's see, Priscilla. Priscilla, you want to ask a question?
All right, thank you, Caleb. Okay, I want to ask the thing concerning the buy and sell tax. I understand that 1% goes to the buy and 2% goes to the sell for affordable housing. So I want to ask, these 2% now, are they using it to build something different, or are they still building an eco house with it? Hello,
Yeah,
did you get my question?
Yeah, no, of course, Priscilla. Thanks very much for that. Very good question. Again, it's about the expectancy over time. So the end goal, we're not going to be building eco-friendly homes from day one, but we do plan to build them and make them available for as many people as possible. To start with, those funds will be used to acquire properties that we can make HMOs from. So put, houses of multiple occupancy, sheltered accommodation, and other affordable housing. So for instance, part of what we do is the client, we don't purchase properties and then say to the client, would you like to live in this property? Which you can do. What we're trying to do, which again is it's an approach that is used by mortgage companies, but we're taking the best part of the way that the mortgage system works and utilising it for ourselves. We're saying to people, if you see a house that you like, come see us. We'll purchase that house, put you in it, and through the agreement, you'll get to own it in less time. So that's the basics of that. And that's what those monies will go to start with, is to put people in properties, because we need to grow. And to grow, first of all, we need to have people in situ in as many premises as possible. But the end goal is obviously a good eco-friendly home that everyone can have, or as many people that want them as possible.
Oh, all right. All right, I get it. Thank you so much for the answer.
Thanks for that, Priscilla. Great question. Up next, let's see. Benita, you're free to ask a question.
Sorry, Caleb. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. My question is not really a question, but it's more like a suggestion. So I was going to say, it's really, really good for one to be optimistic when making plans with regards to building a project or building whatever. But it's also very beneficial to be realistic as well, because in the long run, you have to face reality. So considering everything you planned out, we all know that there is some risk attached to this real estate business, whether building, whether, buying, whatever. There are definitely risk attached, general market risk and some intense real estate-like risk. So have you considered all of this risk and how you tackle them?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I will answer it hopefully in a way that you'll understand. If you go on our website and have a look at the people involved, we have a long-term outlook. So what we're discussing isn't going to happen in 2 or 3 years. We plan this business to be a generational business. Okay, I think it's key that when you're on an AMA, you try and condense all of the information, and that sometimes skews the way that it can appear. We have a long-term outlook for this. Of course, we've looked at all the risks. That's why we have pilot project and why we have fixed locations and we have fixed budgets that we are looking at. And what we're going to do is we're going to adhere to them. Like I also said, is of course there is always risk. All you can do is your utmost to mitigate that risk. So, for instance, one of the ways we've looked to mitigate that risk is to keep the value of the properties that we are initially looking to put people into to a reasonable level. So we're not moving. So for England, for instance, in England, we're not looking in the south where the prices are high. We're looking in the northeast, where the property prices are a lot lower, but you still have the same percentage of people earning an income that can afford them comfortably. So you're instantly reducing your outlay, so therefore mitigating some financial risk. Also, we are members of legal bodies. So for instance, we, as being part of the NRLA, we have legal cover with that organisation. And everything we do, we run through the legal department first. So we've mitigated anything that can go wrong there. But there are always things that happen outside of your control. And they're just factors that happen. And anyone that tries to say, no, we've got a way to make sure we're 100% secure is lying. All we would say is we are all professionals and experienced in our fields. And we have pulled that experience to put together a project and a format that negates as much of that risk that is possible, but it will never negate all of the risk.
Yeah, that's a great one. You know, questions like this actually bring out the intent of people. I mean, it's not their general liquidity, because now we're talking about a real life business. And like you said, it's a long-term one. So, and you also said you are legally covered. I think I like that as well. When I meant risk, I think one of the risks could be, you know, such risk that insurance could be of help to. So these houses that would come in the future, they're all going to be covered. Am I correct?
Absolutely, 100%. You know, that's the whole idea, is to mitigate as much risk as possible. So, for instance, one of the things we've looked to do is to make sure that after someone has been in situ in a premises for a certain amount of time, so once they've reached a trigger point, if something catastrophic happened and the company was to fold, they would gain ownership of the premises, so they wouldn't lose out in that aspect. So that's one way of protecting the client. The other ways, like you said, are making sure that you have all of the insurances in place that are possible. The third thing that we are also looking at, which Lawgiver helped with, and so did T-Bot, who's not on at the moment, is with the portfolio, you can do so many things. So we can put Medicare, or if there are countries where you pay for your medical insurance, we can tie that into the portfolio. So it comes out of the secondary and tertiary tokenomics. You know, we can tie, like Lawgiver said, your utilities into that as well. So there are multiple ways. Insurance and protection isn't just about, you know, the bigger picture and protecting the property. It's protecting the individual. We want our properties to literally be people's safety zone, their castle, you know, their homestead. Whatever we can put into that package to make life more financially secure, we will do. And that involves abiding by every country's legislation and then being proactive, not reactive. So whatever we can do to secure people and make sure they're safe, we've done it in the eco side, the crypto side, with doing as much as we can. I've been in touch with Shield Coin, third-party security of the smart contract and LP, anti-whale, anti-dumping. That's what we're about. We're about additional security. We've purchased, the first asset that we purchased was a KYC system, and there's multiple things about our partnerships that are going to build on that system, which will offer an additional level of security. So you're absolutely 100% right. You can never have enough protection for your clients and also for your investors. And there's really no excuse not to have it. There's no excuse not to have it except for cost. But if you look at the way that our business is structured, we are not just focused on the bottom line for us. We are focused on security and redistribution. And that's what we plan to do.
Okay, I think I just say I like the sound of it, and also the medical insurance. Is it something that you already considered, or was it just said in passing? Because I think I like that as well.
Lawgiver?
Okay, I said the medical insurance. Yeah, okay, Lawgiver, go ahead.
I'm going to answer your question. No, it's definitely not said in passing. We've been talking about it for, well, it feels like years. I think we've been involved for several months now, but no, that's something that's very serious, very seriously being considered, and not just considered, but looked at. How can we do it? Scott hit on it. I love the statement. This is meant to be your castle to look after you. So, the concept of this project is different than most of whatever anybody has seen. This is about taking the opportunity to use DeFi to replace, a traditional existing business like the mortgage business. It's billions and billions and billions of dollars. And that's going, they set up a respectable company. Great. The whole goal of this is to take a chunk of that, and instead of it feeding, bonuses and fancy cars to a select few, it lets a whole host of investors get involved, and it takes that money that would go, or those earnings, and helps provide for people things that they truly need. So if we can fit a way for your home to also look out for your health, we're damn well going to do that. As long as it's not illegal, then that's the goal, and we're actively chasing that.
Okay, Lawgiver, thank you. And am I correct if I say that the real life business would be more, or would be dependent or relying on the volume of the token value, or do you have some kind of funds already? A group of team. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay, so do you have funds as a company running out on its own, like in a real life already, or is it going to be dependent on the volume of your project? Like the income, when you get
absolutely.
more revenues and all of that.
So yes, there is there's some additional funds that have gotten things going. There are existing products that the team had already been working on that will be providing revenue. The goal is to have a functioning token with trading volume that provides income. But with the hybrid nature of this, the future of this company is not in trading volume. It will always be there, and it will, there will be a benefit to it. But Scott alluded to it before. When I first got involved, one of my first questions was, this is how I do business. I said, all right, well, what are the pitfalls? What could make this company fail? And once this thing gets rolling, there's a property that's owned by a company, and if all else fails, they own a company, they own a property, they've put a family in a home, mission success. But as the payments are made on that, it goes back into the company and back into the holders, and that allows another purchase of another property. so you can see as more properties are added, the rewards build as to what's going back to the holders, and it stops relying solely on trading volume. So you guys have said this is a long-term project, and in the long term, the goal is to be a decentralized finance solution to the housing crisis, to attack that problem and see if we can make a dent.
Yeah, I'd just like to add to that we are onboarding real world companies. We have an additional, so you've got the property business. We also have an energy brokerage onboarded. So we have revenue streams external to the token, but we are forming a hybrid version to bring in as many different revenue streams as possible, because by having as many different revenue streams as possible, it will help us to purchase properties quicker. It will help us to offer great rewards to our token holders a lot quicker, and just make us more secure with regards to how we grow this, and then hopefully set an example for other projects in this space and in other market sectors to look at what we're doing, hopefully, and with a lot of support from you guys, and by bringing on normal people and that don't really care about crypto, showing them the benefits and growing the adoption, others will have to follow.
Right, thank you. And lastly, Lawgiver, is this the owner Unity? Is it the name the company, like the real life company, is incorporated with, or is it yet to be incorporated in any way? Registered.
Scott may have it on hand. I believe it's Owners Unity Limited is the registered company. I know it's on the website.
Right, I'll check it up. Thank you, Caleb.
Thanks for that, Benito. So I think I don't know, are you guys ready to get in more questions, if you don't mind? Or maybe you might have other things to do, stuff like that. I mean, if you're free to get more questions,
we will take, at least one of us will stay here and listen to people for as long as they have questions, because the only way for people to understand is to have their questions answered. So I don't want anyone leaving here saying they didn't answer our questions.
So you want to get more questions, right?
If you guys have time, some of us will have time.
Of course, we have time. So anyways, let's get a question from Rose. Rose, you're muted. Rose, you're muted, but we can hear you. Rose, I guess you have to leave and rejoin. Maybe gonna have a good connection after on. We have to move on. Let's get a question from Daffy. Daffy, you're muted.
Hello?
Hey.
All right.
Ask your question.
Okay. I want to ask, since the owners unit on real estate housing, so I want to ask, do they have option to regulate the activities of the users? For instance, if someone gets to rent a house, what if the person wants to rent it out to someone else?
Well, we're only our plan is to have an application process, and we will try and filter these people out. You can't have the perfect system. The odd person will get through, but as we only allow one property per family or per person to start with, that will stop people buying second properties. Obviously, I'm sure you're aware you can do a land property check. So if they already own a property and they're trying to get a property with us, they won't be accessible. But we'll do everything we can, but like I said before, you can do as much mitigation as possible, but you'll always get the odd person that might slip through the gaps. But that is not something that we are designed to allow to happen.
All right. That, if the person is buying the land, every paper is being transferred to the person, right? Like all transactions that has to do with the house, like paperwork are being transferred as well.
Eventually, I think the process needs to be clarified. The individual, the client, isn't buying the land. It belongs as an asset to the company until the agreed figure is reached, and then we hand it over all deeds, etc., to them then. And then once they have it from there, it's up to them what they do. But as long as it's owned as an asset of our business, then they have to abide by the contractual obligations, obviously.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for that, buddy. Let's also get a question from, let's see, Wisha. Wisha, you're muted.
Yeah, thank you, Caleb. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Ask a question.
Okay. You guys, you have a great project and really big goals. Helping people to get home ownership is really great. But of course, there are many people who are unable to do so. So my question is, why not allocate part of the charitable portfolio fund to help people who can't buy a home, or to help them invest in your project itself? That's my question.
Hi, Rachel. Thanks very much for that. Yeah, we plan to do that. We're trying to do that. You know, we are looking at the sheltered accommodation, etc., for these people so that they have the chance to be involved in a property and then get back on their feet and move forward from there. That's one aspect of it. With regards to helping people invest in the project, it's kind of hard. We can't be saying we're not a charity, we're a business. You know, that's key. We have you guys as the investors that we are accountable to. We have the clients in the properties that we're also accountable to. But we have a charity wallet. If you look for our tokenomics, we have a charity wallet. And what we do is we allow the community to vote and decide where those funds go. So, you know, we're trying our utmost to help and uplift and emancipate as many people as possible. But you have to do it in the strictures of your business model. So we're trying to help people. We're trying to put people in properties to own them. We're trying to get homeless people and people on lower income into decent standards of properties. It's hard to then get people outside of our project and give them funds to invest in us. That doesn't make sense. I might have misunderstood what you meant by that, obviously, and if I have, I apologise. But we will have a marketing strategy, etc., to manage most of the aspects that you've said. But hopefully, I've covered a few of them there.
I think there's also a part that you might appreciate, which is that you know this is an altruistic company that wants to support humanity, but also take care of the investors. And I'm sure that you guys have seen or been involved, invested in projects that try to go in a million directions at once. They try to attack every single problem they saw and address them, and often that fails. So we have to start somewhere and make a difference somewhere and be good at that, or we can't address the next thing. There's different rules set in place so that we can help people get into these homes and get them on the property ladder. And as we become more successful, we have a better platform and a stability to reach out and help people in different ways. And that's part of why we involve our community. That's the whole goal, is to get everybody involved and give that community a voice. If they say, hey, we need to hold some kind of I don't know, a seminar to help people learn how to invest. If that's a direction that people want to go in, then we're listening. But the main goal is to get off the ground and create a stable company and platform, and then we can look to go in different directions. But we can't attack all of the problems all at once. We wouldn't be good stewards of investor money. And we wouldn't be taking care of our mission, which is to try and get people into homes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Caleb.
Yeah, thanks for that, Rachel. I want to read a question real quick from Rose. I think she was having an issue with her connection. She said, I see that staking is one of your main utility. Putting into consideration the coin's market condition and how the bear market has been reducing the value of the liquidity pool holdings of most projects, do you have any plans to peg or kind of hedge the pool of excessive devaluation seeing the state of the market?
Yeah, I think we kind of touched on that earlier. We can do and try as much mitigation as possible, but you can only do so much. So one of the things we do is out of the secondary and tertiary autonomics, we provide a percentage for the liquidity pool. So whatever happens in the market, so say the market drops 90% and people start, there's a run on the token, so people start drawing down funds. The liquidity pool's there, that will shrink, people might get concerned, but we have the ability to then adjust the figures from the real world business to pump more funds into the liquidity pool to stabilize it. So where this is a hybrid project, we have more options and opportunities to show sustainability and growth through any period. That's why I was trying to say that the hybrid nature of the project offers security not only for the real world company, but also for the ecosystem that we're trying to build. And the way it does that is obviously by working in tandem with each other. So to start with, if there is additional funding that is raised in the tokenomics, that can be used to grow the real world utility. On the other side, if the ecosystem goes through a hard time, like the crash we had with Luna, etc., Celsius and all the others, then we can then use capital from the real life company to support that. So yeah, we do have measures in place. I don't think it will be needed, but it's there. We've got as many fail safes in place as possible, but as I always say, nothing is 100%. And if anyone tries to tell you that they have 100% secure way of making sure nothing can go wrong, they are lying.
So thank you for that. I think we can get in just one more last questions. Let's get a question from the Queen. The Queen, you're muted.
Okay, hi Caleb. My question is, I've been hearing the word property being used, but I want to know, when you talk about property, do you mean the house or the land? Are the clients purchasing just the bare lands that they will go ahead and build on, or are they purchasing an already built house? And if they're purchasing an already built house, where is the houses coming from? Are you buying from those who have built already, or is the company going to build affordable houses for the clients? I want to know the specifics of the word property. I've just been hearing the word property thrown around.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for that. It's a great question. We need to break it down. Property means multiple things in multiple different countries. So if you own the land and the property, you could say that that is a property. You can say it's physically just the bricks and mortar. If you just own the land and you don't have a house on it, then, it's different things to different people. With regards to what we're doing, and in one of the answers I said before, is you need not to look at it from such a shortened perspective. This is a long-term project, generational. Because we don't have much time, we have to obviously put things into a shorter time frame to try and get them across and get out there what we plan to do. So it depends. It's always depends. So it depends on which country that we purchase in. To start with, we're not going to be building estates, etc. We will be asking people to look at properties land, whatever you want to call it. We just call it properties to cover the concept. So they would look for the properties and they would say to us, we like this. We would then purchase it. We wouldn't purchase a house on someone else's land. So you only get the leasehold instead of an actual outside a deed agreement. So that's one thing that we're not looking at. Would we look at that in the future? Yes. If someone comes to us and says, we want you to purchase this plot of land so we can build a house on it, we just don't have the funds for both, that's something that we can look at. But at this moment in time, is not our primary focus. Our primary focus when we talk about property would be either a building that comes with land attached, as it does in the UK and places like that, or another situation is the land, obviously, that you can build property on that then belongs to the land. Property for us means ownership of every aspect of the package, if that's an easier way to understand it. Yes, we do plan to build our own packages, properties, whatever you want to call them, moving forward. As we expand, we have a very robust roadmap. It could include, like I've said at the start of this, we have many different products that can be utilised, many different markets and routes to market that our product can be tailored for. And we will look to do as much as we can to bring in as many revenue streams that will help us put as many people into properties. So just a quick recap. We use the term property just as an easy explainer, but it covers any land and buildings that can be purchased as a whole. So like I said, if the land is separate from the property and the property is a leasehold, we wouldn't be interested in that. Does that sort of answer your question?
Yes, thank you. I have another question, if you don't mind.
Of course.
Okay, how will the token holders benefit from the real estate? Like, what's the mechanism? Is it by buyback of your token? I want to know how the profits gotten from the real estate would be incorporated with the benefits that the token holders will get, because I'm confused in that area.
Okay, it's basically in the tokenomics, we have 7 different revenue streams that are returned to the token holders. So the basic ones are your buys and sales tax, which is standard. Then you've got staking, which is also standard. So those are independent of the real world utility. The next 4 reward streams are all based solely on the real world utility. So the secondary tokenomics and the tertiary tokenomics are all based on the revenue that is produced by the real world utility and ecosystem. That then goes through the tokenomics, and those tokenomics produce a BUSD reward for stakeholders that you get a share of 12.5% of the secondary autonomics. All holders, so even people that haven't staked, because not everyone staked, some people don't, want to, some people think that they don't have enough tokens, they also receive a percentage reward, which is 5%, if I remember correctly, of BUSD. So every token holder receives a reward from the secondary tokenomics, which is solely from the profits made of the real world businesses and utilities. On top of that, the tertiary tokenomics provides a 4% BUSD return from both the owner's unity, tertiary tokenomics, and the client tokenomics. So they're direct benefits that token holders receive from the real world utility that I don't know of many other tokens in this space that actually do that. At the moment, from what I can tell, and you might be able to, enlighten me if I'm off the mark here, most people's tokens and the way that they receive profit is either by the reflections or on the hope that the real world utility that's being designed is then actually good and that helps the price go up. But you don't actually receive profits from the real world utilities that most projects build. We're changing that and actually saying, you guys have been involved since day one. You deserve this money. We're not going to pay bonuses and dividends out because you guys are technically shareholders because you've invested in the token. So the rewards are clear. They're in the white paper. I would ask you to take a look. And if you have any more questions, you can ping any one of us and we'll run through it with you. Hopefully that gives you a brief overview. The other side of that is obviously we're expanding the real world ecosystem. So there'll be more businesses involved. We've got utility that can be used in the real world and in the crypto ecosystem with the KYC product that we're producing. So an additional benefit, which won't be a short-term benefit, but it will be a benefit in the long term, is the fact that there will come a point, like Lawgiver said, when there is more revenue coming in from the real world utilities than you would ever get from the buy sales tax or the price buy sale volume price increase. So that's how we look to be a unique hybrid project that benefits you guys not only through the token but also through the real world utility and companies. And hopefully that answers your question.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. I think that's how far we can go with the questions. And I can see that there were a couple of people raising their hands. As much as I want to take in more questions, we've exceeded a lot of time limit. But what I want to say is if you do have more questions about the project, feel free to join into that Telegram channel and ask your question. I believe either one of the mod or the team are going to get your question answered. So thank you everyone for the questions. But I mean, this is not where we're going to put this to a close. That's and the team. Do you guys have any final words or maybe like a quick of action to the communities or the investors in here before we draw this to a close?
Yeah, Lawgiver, do you want to close? Okay, I will. Does anyone else want to close or shall I take it? Okay, then I'll keep it brief. Thanks, guys, for having us. It's been a great talk. Come over to our Telegram if you've got any more questions. Read our white paper. I would advise you all to read our white paper and get an understanding of what it is we're looking to do. It really is a simple project and a simple idea to use the system against itself to help more people receive more benefits and put the power back in your hands. We're not going to change the world overnight, but if we get the ball rolling, then others will have to look at what's happening and adjust or die. If no one tries to tackle these kind of problems, it never changes. The system's broke. It needs to change, and DeFi has given us the perfect opportunity for us all to help each other to make money and also help people. There's nothing wrong with advancing your life by holding others up, as opposed to advancing your life by climbing over the backs of others. Lawgiver, I'll let you take the last word.
Okay, sorry to have abandoned you there, Scott. I stepped out for a minute. I mean, I can't say much better than what Scott did now. He summed it up really well. We're bringing humanity back to this process. But for me, I'm just excited to be making a difference and really being able to bring along the DeFi community. Like has been said before, we're here for questions. Please come over. Feel welcome in our Telegram group. Fire off questions. If it gets too complicated, any one of us will load up a voice chat and we can talk through it. As you can tell, we're very passionate about this. When I talk to it, about it amongst my friends, I'm seeing this as a 10-year plan, and I intend to be along for every bit of that ride. So please come over and talk to us if you have questions. And I appreciate you guys giving us the time to talk about our project.
Thank you very much, Daz and the team. Great stuff you guys have here. And like I said, if you do have any more information to share about, the Honors Unity, about the upcoming update, and even if it's close to the day of the pre-sale, please feel free to share any information with our community. We would love to update them about that. But as always, guys, you want to keep in mind to do your own research. That's really, really important, right? So make sure if you do have more questions and you have maybe a couple of doubts, go into that white paper, check it out, read it out. If you have more questions regarding the project, please do not feel shy to ask the team about the project. So thank you so much, Daz and the team, for coming around. And on the team as well are generous to give us some whitelist spots and some prizes as well for best questions. So I've selected a couple of best questions, and for the whitelist spot as well, these whitelist spots are pretty rare. So once you have one, you want to make a wise use of it. But before you can be able to attain the prize, all you have to do is join into that Telegram channel, follow us as well on Twitter, on our announcement channel. With that, you can have the opportunity of gaining this prize. Aside from that, I think this is how we're going to put an end to the AMA. I'm going to be stopping the recording, and I'm going to send you yours in a private chat if you don't mind.